Let me welcome you, my dear students, to another exciting session, to another interesting session, and a session of a journey where we are trying to learn and have some information so that we can develop those skills through which we can manage ourselves, right? Self-awareness. अच्छा, फिर सेल्फ अवेयरनेस के पर्सपेक्टिव में लास्ट सेशन में very interesting exercise where you assessed yourself that in the market, in the organizations, at home, you will meet different personalities. Do you know what kind of personalities you are interacting with? Are you aware of how many types of personalities there could be? You have to interact with and you have to react to. And you remember the type of personalities we discussed? Can you recall? 1, 2, 3, 4. How many of them? Yaad kijiye zara. 6 of them, at least in this model, 6 of them. We divide people on the basis of the attributes. We said, for example, you will meet, or you could be one of the self-monitoring personality. Don't push them too hard. Why? Because they're monitoring their own goals. They know their own value system. They have a plan of development for themselves. Self-monitoring. They have a monitor, a controlling mechanism which is built into them. होते हैं लोग ऐसे. They would know what I am going to do today and what are the targets I'm going to finish this month, this year, and where I want to be in the next 5 years. एक किताब में पढ़ रहा था, a graduate of National University of Singapore, MBA. And you know, in that book he wrote Success Basics. If you can find that book, try to read it. Success Basics. He said, while I was graduating, I made a plan. That in 5 years, I want to be heading a department in a business organization in Singapore, which will be multinational. Now that's a very high target. Think of it. After MBA, you want to be head of a department in 5 years? Acha, phir head of the department, not of a local company, multinational company, where the standards are high. Targets are set at the headquarter level. Culture may be different. Pace may be different. And then he explained, how did I make a plan that in the next 5 years, I would achieve it? He did it. So in other words, if you have a plan, you know your personality, you know what are my goals, what is the map, where is the starting point, where is the ending point, what motorway, what freeway, what highway, what street, what village, how I'm going to cross. Am I going to fly? Am I going to run at a speed of 100 kilometers? You have to make a plan. Self-monitoring. अच्छा, दूसरी personality और कौन सी हमने learn की? Second type of personality, risk propensity. A person who is ready to take risk. One of the very important attribute of an entrepreneur. और आप में से बहुत सारे students, बहुत सारे professional, ladies and gentlemen, let's try to come up with a company where you provide jobs to others. देखिए ना, एक mindset ये है, no, I like to work for an organization. Well, good, that's, pretty safe. Every month you will have a salary check. But here is someone, risk propensity. Someone who would like to come up with an idea, a company, find some finance, how I'm going to market, I will provide jobs for others. I want to be boss of my own. Third type of personality कौन सी थी? Recall कीजिए. Locus of control. And we'll talk about that locus of control when we will discuss an attitude towards change. What is the kind of, where is your locus of control? Is it your remote control in your hand? Or is it in the hand of the environment? अच्छा, remember पे जब हम personality discuss कर रहे थे, तो हमने कहा कि yes, there is a part which comes from the environment. Locus of control. What's the fourth type? Very interesting. Machiavellian. अच्छा, फिर आपने वो Mac test भी तो, did you take that test? I'm sure you have completed it. Now you know where you are. I don't want to go and touch that sensitive area again. But these are the people. You'll find them. And the fifth type of personality, type A versus type B, right? And that is also a test, an assessment, an instrument which we have used. And we have gone into detail where you and me would like to place myself, yourself, on the basis of this instrument, on the basis of the scores which you give to the statement, and then maybe try to relate the kind of vocation or the job or the workplace where you are. Is it fit? Good, if it's satisfying, if it's making you happy. If not, what is the plan? Plan will be two types. Either you can change the organization or change the workplace where you can fit yourself according to your personality. Or there is a second chance. Try to tune a little bit your personality. It's possible. But anyhow, looking at all these type of personalities, एक और रह गई. Remember the sixth one? बताइए जरा जल्दी से. Does it come to your mind? अब पाकिस्तानी कल्चर में तो, बल्कि पाकिस्तानी नहीं, सब कॉन्टिनेंट के कल्चर में, इवन मिडिल ईस्ट के कल्चर में, इस किस्म की पर्सनैलिटी के बहुत सारे लोग नजर आएंगे. What is the sixth one? Authoritarian personality. I like to enjoy, rather I like to ride on my authority. My way and no other way. अच्छा फिर, yes, authority के बगैर तो काम होते नहीं हैं. But don't you also like to have authority? So if authority is going to clash with the authority and nobody is going to give way, that will create conflict. Now, you don't have to create conflict. Constructive conflict, we'll talk about conflict. Constructive conflict is good. But those conflicts are on ideas. The conflicts which are based on personalities and values, sometimes they are dysfunctional. I think we need to avoid them. Now, how can you avoid it? That's one way of knowing it. That, all right, here you are talking to someone who would like to exercise and show and present and exhibit through his sitting, through his talking, through his walking, through his dress, through his car, through his way he is dealing with you, that he is talking in authority mode. Learn it. No need to take it head on. All right. If he's creating heat, you create light. Find a right or left and see how can you avoid that situation where the authority was being exercised on you. That is the purpose of this self-awareness. But now moving on, that why knowing this personality type makes me important. One more important aspect is still left. And I like to make sure that you take a time more on this skill assessment. And I would like to give you one more instrument. And this instrument is developed and used by one of the very well-known famous professor who is still working actively and doing research, trying to explain to MBAs, managers, executives, that in 21st century, how can you use your political skills? Do you know what kind of political skills you have? You need to take this test. Know where you are. Know where the organization and what kind of organization you are in, and how are you going to use this skill. It's a management skill. It's a negotiation skill, because political skill is simply trying to match your personal goals, maybe with the goals of the other person, maybe with the goals of the heads of the department, maybe the goals of the organization or the CEO of the organization. But this test will tell you how good you are in political skills. और मैं स्किल टेस्ट आपके सामने ये इंस्ट्रूमेंट शेयर कर लूं, और फिर मैं आपसे अर्ज करूंगा कि हाउ आर यू गोइंग टू यूज दिस टेस्ट फॉर योर बेनिफिट. ऑलराइट, दिस इज सेल्फ अवेयरनेस, एंड वी लाइक टू गेट अवेयरनेस ऑन आवर पॉलिटिकल स्किल्स. अच्छा देखिए, फिर wherever we will talk about political skill, remember Machiavellian personality? Highly political. That's also one way of looking at personality type. But here we are expecting from you that you need to develop this skill. And according to Professor Jeffrey Pfeffer, and please read his articles, research articles, and I think now the time is coming when I'll share with you, and I'll request you to read certain articles, some cases, research articles, where you will learn from others that how developing these management skills will bring success to you, and how developing these management skills are predictor of the success. So you can predict by taking these tests or reading these research articles. All right, my dear students, ladies and gentlemen, this is a political skills test. Male and female, doesn't matter. Big cities, small cities, tehsils, headquarters, Islamabad, Karachi, does not matter. It's a skill of human being. Computers do not require political skill. Well, they do communicate with each other. They have certain protocols. They always abide by those protocols. Remember TCP, IP? Those are protocols. It's the human, you and me, who certain times do not abide by those protocols. And you need to find out when somebody is going beyond the limit, beyond the scale. So this political skill test tells us that, please remember, organizations are political arenas. क्या organizations में भी politics होती है? Now you tell me. When your interests clash, when your goals clash, when your promotions clash, when the way you write an email, you get an immediate response with hot words. Organizations are political arenas. Professor Ferris, who has written this book, from where this instrument is taken by Professor Pfeffer. Professor Ferris says that we have found that political skill predicts performance. My dear students, political skill predicts performance, its performance evaluation, and your career success. Now, how do you do it? Let's find out. These authors define, and that's very important catch. You don't have to be allergic from the word political. The definition in 21st century of a political skill is, it's your ability to understand others. आप मुझे बताइए, don't you have this need to understand others? So it's your ability to understand others at work, and to use that knowledge. Ability is understanding others. That's your knowledge. And to use that knowledge to influence where to act in ways which will enhance your personal or organizational objectives. How are you going to influence? Verbally, non-verbally. What kind of tone are you going to use? Are you going to use networking? Before meeting, after meeting? Who is going to call and talk for your goals? Personal goals as well as organizational goals. It is something important. So please take the test. Find out where you are and make a development plan. इसलिए अब development plan की भी बात आ रही है कि if certain skills you are not up to the mark, you need to design a development plan. We'll talk about that. So take the test and then work on improving the areas where you are weak. You will be better off for these efforts where you will be developing political skills. Now, when I use this instrument with certain of my students in MBA, in MPhil, MS Management class, whenever I find out that the score is low, I'll share with you in a minute that why it's low. When I find out the score is low, I would immediately ask, are you working for a uniform organization? Army, Air Force, Navy, or even police. Are you working for a uniform organization? Especially in the armed forces where the systems, SOPs, structures, processes are very much focused for a particular objective. So maybe networking and the nature of networking required is different. And then I immediately ask, okay, your office time is 8 to 2, 7:30 to 2:30. But how about after 2:30 when you go home? You are interacting with your wife, with your children. Don't you use this? And don't you want to use this? And don't you want to develop this skill, which is a skill of negotiation? And the answer comes yes. So that's why I'm saying, please take the test. All right. For those of you who have not downloaded and made a print copy, let me read the statement and you can make a scale of yours and find the number, write down the number for each statement, take the total and discuss with your colleagues where you are weak. Number one, I spend a lot of time and effort at work networking with others. Scale is 1 to 7. And remember, 1 is strongly disagree and 7 is strongly agree. Number 2, I'm able to make most people feel comfortable and easy around me. Number 3, I'm able to communicate easily and effectively with others. Number 4, it's easy for me to develop good rapport with most people. Now, for example, this statement is important for all types of organizations, regardless it's a uniform or armed forces or manufacturing or service. I repeat, number 4, it's easy for me to develop good rapport with most people. Number 5, I understand people very well. Number 6, I'm good at building relationships. My dear students, I'm good at building relationships with influential people at work. Number 7, I'm particularly good at sensing the hidden agendas of others. अच्छा, hidden agenda होते हैं या नहीं? I'm sure there are. So I am particularly good at sensing the hidden agendas of others. Number 8, when communicating with others, I try to be genuine in what I say and what I do. Number 9, I have developed a large network of colleagues and associates at work who I can call on for support when I really need to get things done. Manager is someone who gets things done with the help of others, through the help of others. Let me repeat. I've developed a large network of colleagues and associates at work who I can call on for support when I really need to get things done. Number 10, at work, I know a lot of important people and I am well connected. Scale is 1 to 7. Remember, 1 was strongly disagree and 7 was strongly agree. Number 11, I spend a lot of time at work developing connections with others. Number 12, I'm good at getting people to like me. Your marketing is your responsibility. Your personality management is your responsibility. Your brand development is your responsibility. Let me repeat this statement. I am good at getting people to like me. Of course, on the basis of professionalism, on the basis of performance. Number 13, it is important that people believe I am sincere in what I say and what I do. Remember, people's perception is important. Number 13 was, it is important that people believe I am sincere in what I say and what I do. Scale is 1 to 7. My dear students, number 14 is, I try to show a genuine interest in other people. Number 15, I'm good at using my connections and network to make things happen at work. Someone who is networked and use that network for the benefit of the organization. और देखिए, personal benefit, professional benefit, organizational benefit, all has to be part of the game. Number 16, I have a good intuition and I'm savvy about how to present myself to others. What kind of people I'm going to meet? People who are going to attend this meeting. Are they technical? Are they finance oriented, accounting oriented? Are they design oriented? How I'm going to present myself to others. That's a political skill. Number 17, I always seem to instinctively know the right things to say or do to influence others. Instinctively. How quick? How can you make a judgment and give the response instinctively? I always seem to instinctively know the right things to say or do to influence others. Afterthought nahi hoga. Thought, well thought over. The last one, number 18, I pay close attention to people's facial expression. Remember I showed you faces of 5 or 6 persons? Or rather it was one person, but there were 6 faces. Now, मुझे बताइए, was it male or female? Can you remember that? And looking at the face, you can read what may be cooking in the mind of that person. That's what this statement is. I pay close attention to people's facial expression. What's written on it? All right, 18 statements, scale is 1 to 7. Now you add up the score, and when you add the score, according to this instrument, you got the total score. Now divide this total score by 18. ठीक है जी? जो total score आपका आया है, उसको 18 से divide कर दीजिए. You will have a score between 1 and 7. ठीक है? जो कि scale जो 1 to 7 था. Here comes the catch. High score means you have very good political skills. Lower score means certainly you have less political skill. Definitely you should have more than 4. You should have more than 4. और जैसे मैंने कहा ना, armed forces, for the first time when they take those officers test, they may come up with 3 and 3.1 and 3.2. Then you discuss. You find out what is the implication and what these statements are written. Is it important for you in the office, dealing with people, at home, in the market? Oh, it's a holistic personality. Your life is 24 hours. You have to make it balance work and life. 4 is also, well, good. Less than 4, no good. अच्छा, discourage होने की जरूरत नहीं है. Think about it. Convince yourself if it is less than 4. Read these statements again and answer, especially those statements where your score is low. Read them again. Convince yourself. Is it something which is required from you? Is it something which is required by you? If so, and now you have answered that you need an improvement plan. Well, of course, if you have aspirations to reach great heights of power and authority, and please remember, when you go higher in the organization, you become head of the department, you become head of the division, power has to be given to you. It's not something that we are talking against, but no, authority is required. But to exercise that authority professionally, you need to develop and build this ability and capability. You have to develop this stamina that you can take this power. Do you have this shock absorber to absorb stronger shock? Higher you go, more will be resistance. Higher you go, less will be oxygen. It's a natural law. Get yourself ready. So the question which you have answered, 18 of them, Professor Pfeffer has divided them into 4 dimensions of political skill. Note कीजिएगा, उनमें से पहली dimension है social astuteness. How good you are socially. कौन सी statements हैं उसमें? Statement number 5 या question number 5, 7, 16, 17 and 18. This has measured your social astuteness. Statement number or question number 2, 3, 4 and 12, it has measured your interpersonal influence. आप मुझे बताइए क्या interpersonal influence नहीं required है? That's a skill. You need to develop it. तीसरा एरिया, तीसरा डायमेंशन पॉलिटिकल स्किल का apparent sincerity. अच्छा, अब ये लफ्ज इन्होंने इस्तेमाल किया है apparent sincerity. देखिए, प्रोफेसर पेफर has developed this instrument for all over the world. While you're working in the office, your behavior has to be apparently professional. अच्छा, हो सकता है आप में से कुछ लोग कहें कि जी apparently sincere का मतलब ये भी तो हो सकता है ना कि basically he's not sincere, he's showing off. Well, yes, in psychology, your behavior is more important than the attitude. If your attitude and behavior can be aligned, your thinking and your acting can be aligned, you are a strong person. But sometimes it happens you don't like something. You don't like the color. You don't like the hours. You don't like the process. You don't like the system. You don't like the customer. You have to show apparently. You're working in the organization, on the behalf of organization. Somebody speaks to you in the office. Say you are sitting on a bank teller. You are a bank executive. And the customer which just have come in the bank to withdraw the amount from the bank is one of the important customer of this bank. 10 million या 20 million रुपए का अकाउंट है इसके बैंक के अंदर. और वो कस्टमर जो है उसने चेक प्रेजेंट किया. उस कस्टमर का बिहेवियर थोड़ा रूड था. Sometimes money makes the behavior rude. And you don't like the rude behavior. Would you like to be rude with him? Probably not. Professionalism demand you have to serve the customer with a smile. You have to be apparently sincere to him, sincere to the organization. So statement number 8, 13 and 14, it has assessed your apparent sincerity. चौथी dimension है your networking ability. Very important. In this world of social networks, in this world of connectivity, in this world of internet, networking ability is very important. Please take it seriously. Statement number 1, 6, 9, 10, 11 and 15. देखिए सबसे ज्यादा स्टेटमेंट्स यहां पर हैं. 1, 6, 9, 10, 11 and 15, they have measured your networking ability. अच्छा, आप इस स्कोर को अलग अलग कर लीजिए और देखिए कि कौन सी डायमेंशन है पॉलिटिकल स्किल के अंदर जो आपकी वीक है. एंड इफ यू वांट टू हायर इन योर कैरियर, इफ यू वांट टू फ्लाई हाई, चॉइस इज योर्स. दिल मुर्दा दिल नहीं है, इसे जिंदा कर दो. जिंदा तो आपने करना है. डेवलपिंग मैनेजमेंट स्किल का कोर्स लेकर भी if your behavior is, I just want to pass this course and get my MBA degree, well, fine. But if you think, and I've seen students coming from small villages near Patoki, coming to Lahore, coming to Karachi, meeting people, taking challenge, changing their personality, changing their dress, changing their way they're talking, changing their networking ability, changing holistically. I've seen those students becoming country manager in a couple of years. But that's the requirement. Why not? Your family, your parents, we need to see you higher and higher. To do that, you need those management skills. People can trust you, give you higher responsibility, that you will use their resources, technical resources, people resources, financial resources, infrastructure resources in the best way possible. और वो उसी सूरत में होगा कि when you develop these management skills. All right, my dear students, if you like to see the reference of this instrument, I've given the website at the bottom of this instrument, as well as the reference of that book. And the book's name is Political Skills at Work by Professor Harris. All right, now you have assessed it. Take a good look before I go to the next component, that why these skills are important, which we have talked in self-awareness. Or we take a look on the fifth component or the fourth component. This assessment session has brought to you three types of instrument: personality type, A, B, and Machiavellian, and political skill. And among the political skill, we have seen 4 different dimensions. And I hope by putting them together, looking at all the dimensions of the awareness, you might be thinking, and please do think, that let me develop a plan which should be my personal development plan. And maybe you have to submit that personal development plan. I'll talk about that in a minute. Here comes the question now, my dear students. It's time now that we look at that why this self-awareness and the areas of self-awareness, and especially the interpersonal skills and the political skills area, what is the importance of it? Is it really important? And speaking of this significance, now you know your personality type. Maybe you have discussed with the colleagues or the students or someone at home, maybe your friend. We like to learn why the personality knowledge awareness is important. What are its implications? Is it really significant? अच्छा, significant से मुझे याद आया, some of you, I hope all of you, have seen and read the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. किसकी लिखी हुई है? बताइए जरा. Very famous. He has a website, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. अच्छा, अब तो उसके बाद उनकी कई और किताबें आ गई. 7 Habits of Highly Effective Teams, 7 Habits of Highly Effective Families. But for the managers, executives, we're talking of 7 Habits of Highly Effective Executives or People. He has written another book a few years ago 8th habit, and where he talks about success only is not important. अभी तो हम सक्सेस की बात कर रहे थे ना, कि developing these management skill is a predictor. Pronunciation भी जरा ठीक होनी चाहिए. Developing these management skills are predictor of success. But Dr. Professor Steve Covey, in this book on 8th habit, he says, no, success only is not important. You must move from success to significance. Why it is significant? Why you are significant? Why should I hire you? Why should I give all my resources at your disposal? Are you able? Can you network? Can you manage? Do you have this skill? If not, here is the time you can develop those skills. और ये जो implications of personality है, ये आपको submit करना होगा, ये grade होगा. So, take a look on this. You can use the Word document, answer it, write what is required, and submit. It will be graded. But here what we expect from you, that now you know certain areas of self-awareness, especially the personality part, very important part. You need to develop your brand. And this time of the brands, how people would remember your brand. How people would remember that person we met in Karachi, that person we met in conference, that person we met on the airport or the seaport or the bus station. You talked for 5 minutes. You exchanged telephone and email. That 5 minutes of yours influenced him. You became friend. You became networked. You shared goals together. ये ऐसा होता है. तो अब हम लर्न ये करना चाह रहे हैं कि knowing your personality, what are the implications of this personality assessment? Please write down an essay, short essay, answering these 4 questions. Or if you like, you can write a couple of statements. I would rather write a paragraph of 3-4 statements. You write an essay or statement responding to these 4 questions. So you know what are the implications of these assessments which you have taken. Question number 1. Who am I? What is my identity? Who am I? What am I doing? Who am I? Now, of course, you will answer knowing who you are. Where do you draw your strength from? Sometimes people would write books on this question. And you know, let me share with you. To answer this question, who am I? Alex Haley. Do you know his name? Alex Haley wrote a book, Roots, an author in the United States belonging to the Black Americans. Alex Haley, he wanted to find out, who am I? Where do I belong? Where did I come from? Roots, उस पर फिल्म भी बन गई. उसने फिर एक second book लिखी. He started tracing his roots, starting from maybe say New York, and all the way he went to Africa 200 years ago. Where was the village I came from? Does it give you strength? Knowing who am I? It gives strength. It's an identity. Read about identity in psychology. अच्छा, फिर जब मैं पाकिस्तान से बाहर जाता हूं, I need to know what is my identity. And I'm proud of having that green passport. I'm still proud. You know, I lived in more than 10 years in the United States. In 70s, intentionally I came back to Pakistan. I've been working here for the last 30 years. I know I know for the last so many years, the word Pakistan has so many stigmas attached to it. But, my dear students, ladies and gentlemen, this is your identity. Who am I? I am a Pakistani. Ask those people who have no country, no land. Ask them, what is the meaning of who am I? Ask Palestinians. Ask Kashmiris. Ask Bosnians. Why are you fighting for a name? What's in it? They'll tell you why it is important. So please write down, मैंने ऐसे कहा है, आप स्टेटमेंट लिख दें, ये graded भी होगी, आपको सबमिट करनी. Who am I? Number 2, what are my strengths and weaknesses? ये बड़ा फेमस क्वेश्चन है, स्टेटमेंट है. आप कंपनियों के बारे में, मार्केटिंग के कोर्स में SWOT एनालिसिस करते हैं. मैनेजमेंट के कोर्सेज में SWOT एनालिसिस ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस करते हैं. मार्केटिंग के कोर्सेज में टोज एनालिसिस भी आप करते हैं, डिपेंडिंग अपॉन इनसाइड पर्सपेक्टिव और द आउटसाइड पर्सपेक्टिव. Maybe you would like to do the same thing here. Take an outside perspective, do the SWOT analysis. और SWOT analysis में भी हम सिर्फ 2 quadrants की बात कर रहे हैं. Strengths and weaknesses. Take the TOES analysis about you, about me. That's an inside perspective. देखिए, TOES analysis में threats पहले आ रहे हैं. Where do I getting these threats from? Are these threats from the boss? Are these threats from my colleagues? Why? Internal perspective. Anyhow, let's move on. You will give your answer and submit this answer. Question number 3. What do I want to achieve in my life? You know it, but you got to write it down. Acha, question ye, why do I have to write it down? Please document it. Take a look on this document 5 years from now. मैं अभी भी जब अपनी मैट्रिक और इंटर की कापियां देखता हूं, उस वक्त मुझे इतनी अंग्रेजी नहीं आती थी. अब तो कुछ उससे बेहतर आती है. About what, 40 years ago? I draw strength. I can see what is the journey I've traveled. That gives you an indicator of success or speed or pace or frequency. What do I want to achieve in my life? You are in 20s, maybe early 30s. You have a long way to go. Where do you want to be in 10 years from now? What are the milestones you like to achieve in 10 years, in 20 years, in 30 years, in 40 years? And again, this reminds me, Professor Steve Covey. He asks you in the 8th habit. अच्छा, 8th हैबिट की किताब के साथ एक डॉक्यूमेंट्री भी है, कहीं से मिल जाए तो जरूर लीजिएगा. उस डॉक्यूमेंट्री के अंदर उसने 3 मिनट की वीडियो, पहली वीडियो है, उसमें वो क्वेश्चन करता है, डू यू वांट टू लीव ए लेगेसी when you are gone from this office? And those of you who are married, when you are gone from the home, sincerely, how do your children and wife and brothers and sisters speak about you? Legacy. What kind of legacy you have left at home? Because you will go back home after 8 hours, 6 hours. What kind of legacy you are living in the office when you're not in the office? अल्लाह करे आज भी ये बीमार हो जाए, हमारा बॉस आज ना आए. ऐसे होता है कभी? आपके बात ऐसी निकलती है मुंह से? लेगेसी. या आप कहते हैं आज ये शख्स क्यों नहीं आया, मालूम कीजिए, बीमार तो नहीं है. यू आर कंसर्न्ड अबाउट हिम. यू लाइक टू टॉक, यू लाइक टू फाइंड आउट. व्हाट डू आई वांट टू अचीव इन माय लाइफ? फाइनेंशियली, इंटेलेक्चुअली, फिजिकली, प्रोफेशनली, स्पिरिचुअली. अब मैं फाइनेंशियली का नाम देखिए पहले लिया है. ये मत समझिएगा कि आई एम कीपिंग द फाइनेंशियल achievements. Not give. No. Money makes the mayor go. It is important. But there are some other things which are also important. Number 4, my dear students. Number 4, what legacy do I want to leave? अच्छा आप मुझे बताइए, don't you want to be remembered nicely by your colleagues? Is it your need? Or somebody would say, I don't care. Well, fine. You don't care. But those who care, देखिए ना, we're not talking about careless people. We're not talking about careless organizations. We're not talking about careless young men and women. We're talking about responsible citizens of Pakistan, responsible citizens. अच्छा आपने ओबी में वो कॉन्सेप्ट पढ़ा होगा ना, सिटीजनशिप बिहेवियर. एक तो है ना बिहेवियर. Developing these management skills will develop a good managerial behavior. But then what is that citizenship behavior in the organization? Something you go beyond your line of duty. And that reminds me that organization, and there are many of them, who will go beyond the limit, which is not part of their job. Make the customer happy. Make the student happy. Make the colleague happy. Not part of your job. आपकी जेडी में लिखा हुआ नहीं है. And when you do something beyond written in the JD, you are behaving and acting like a citizenship behavior. A citizen of the organization. और citizen का मतलब ये होता है कि कुछ आपकी legal responsibilities हैं जिनका आपको ख्याल है, कुछ आपकी ethical और moral responsibilities हैं as a human being जिनका आपको ख्याल है, and people like to remember it. People like to talk nice about you. अच्छा मैं उस नाइस कम्युनिकेशन की बात नहीं कर रहा जो आपके सामने होती है, वो तो सभी लोग कर लेते हैं. नो, लेगेसी मीन्स यू आर नॉट देयर. एंड गुड लीडर इज द वन, गुड मैनेजर इज द वन हु वुड लाइक टू लिव डेड. क्या मतलब है? दिस इज अ कॉन्सेप्ट. इट कॉन्सेप्ट मीन्स यू आर नॉट देयर, दे डोंट सी यू, बट यू आर इन देयर हार्ट, you are in their mind. They like to speak about you and speak about you nicely in your absence. That's what we mean here. Please write down a statement. What legacy do you want to leave in home? Should the children talk nice about you? Should your wife talk nice about you? Should the customer talk nice about you to the CEO of the organization? Should your colleague talk nice about you? एक लंबी लिस्ट है. अच्छा फिर एज ए ह्यूमन बीइंग दिस इज माई नीड. बिलीव मी, इफ पीपल डोंट टॉक नाइस अबाउट यू, इट क्रिएट स्ट्रेस. एंड विल टॉक अबाउट स्ट्रेस. दैट लीड्स टू हाई ब्लड प्रेशर. दैट लीड्स टू हाई पेन इन द हेड एंड इन द स्टमक. लीड्स टू अल्सर. माय डियर स्टूडेंट्स, रिमेंबर लिविंग ए गुड लेगेसी. ये 1 घंटा जो आप बैठे हुए हैं, लेक्चर सुन रहे हैं, क्लासरूम में या किसी और जगह पर बैठे हुए हैं, ये दाएं बाएं, ये पब्लिक डिस्टेंस है. जब ये पब्लिक डिस्टेंस खत्म हो जाए, ऐसा ना हो कि लोग कहें ये हमने बहुत मजबूरी में ये वक्त गुजारा. ये शख्स जिसके साथ हमें 1 घंटा गुजारना पड़ा, काश दोबारा नहीं गुजारे. या ये घंटा जो हमने गुजारा, काश दोबारा बैठने का मौका मिले. लेगेसी. So these are the 4 statements, my dear students, you have to take care and submit and write, and we would like to see how you submit. I would expect one more thing from you. Talk to your friend, sincere friend. Take a feedback from him. Show this what you have written to him. Maybe you would like to change. Maybe he will give you some tip, some sincere friend. Discuss its implication on your future and on your relationships. Discuss it. ये जिस घर में से बर्तनों के बजने की आवाज आए, पड़ोसी अच्छा नहीं समझते. जिस ऑफिस में ऊंची लाउड बोलने की आवाजें आए, लोग दरवाजे में आके देखते हैं. जिस कॉरिडोर में चलते हुए हॉट एक्सचेंज ऑफ वर्ड्स हो, regardless what authority and power and status and car and house you have, people don't like. Legacy. So my dear students, I'm sure you understand the importance of this third component of self-awareness. And now you're going to write statement on this. And with this, while I'm closing this session, we will get together again and move on to the fourth area of self-awareness, which is the most difficult part, which will be change. So take a little rest, wait until the next session, get ready for the change, because I think knowing about you, about me, is the most difficult part. But we have to do it. It gives us strength. Thank you, and thank you very much. We'll see you in the next session. Until then, Khuda Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.